I got to try the MrBeast Zaxby's meal, and the circumstances leading to why are just as interesting as the actual meal itself. So let's jump right in and I'll tell you all about it. Zaxby's is a fast food restaurant chain specializing in chicken fingers, wings, and salads. They cheekily call them Zalids. They started in 1990 in Statesboro, Georgia, and they've grown to over 900 locations across the United States. When I look at the menu, I see a variety of chicken finger meals, including the boneless wings and a chicken finger plate, some sandwiches, and a handful of Zalids. Zaxby's also has a few sides like crinkle fries, some crazy concoctions with stuff on top of the fries, and coleslaw. Pretty simple. I've never been to Zaxby's, but I found myself in a Hilton hotel in Orlando, Florida, where the food options, let's just say, were less than optimal. And that made me scan through Grubhub to see what I can get delivered to the hotel. I'll come back to this detail after I tell you a little bit about exactly why we were in Orlando, Florida in a hotel. The reason for the trip was a special birthday gift for our son to attend Card Party. It was an amazing convention where we somehow ended up on stage, and that's a crazy story for another day. But in terms of Card Party, I'll tell you right now, it's a Pokemon card convention run by Pat Flynn, who hosts the Deep Pocket Monster YouTube channel. He also helps creators through his various business endeavors. He's as good a person as you'll find out there. And if you remember back to my video about the $50 Vid Summit sandwich, I stopped Pat in the halls and he was actually gracious enough to spend a little bit of time to sign some cards that Noah sent with me. He also threw in more stuff and posed for a picture with me and his producer Dan, who I've gotten to know through YouTube connections and through DDP Yoga. We're really big fans of Pat, so my wife planned a trip for us to attend that weekend. But I gotta say, those food options in that hotel were definitely less than ideal. This respectful but scant Cobb salad was over $20 without dressing, and that was one of the lesser cost items. By the second day, I was looking for something a little bit more substantial, and I saw that we could get Zaxby's delivered to the hotel through Grubhub, and that they actually had a MrBeast Box for only $17 for what seemed like a ridiculous amount of food. We did venture out for some crazy meals after the conference ended, so make sure you subscribe now so you won't miss those videos once I hit publish. Noah's birthday donuts were a little crazy. Back to the MrBeast Box. The MrBeast Box at Zaxby's comes with 4 chicken tenders, crinkle fries, cheddar bites, 2 slices of Texas Toast, 2 signature Zaxbys sauces, MrBeast's new Feastables Milk Chocolate Bar, a small drink, and it comes in a co-branded box. Because that day we were a little limited on time, and we also had no transportation in case we had to deal with any issues, I wanted to keep it simple, so I just ordered one of these boxes per person, and it came delivered in just over 45 minutes, which isn't a terrible delivery time. And aside from the drinks, the food came in fairly good condition. So let's get into some of the technical details about what was inside this box, because it'll help if I think Zaxby's is worth your time, and if this MrBeast Box is nothing more than just a cash grab. First up, the main course, 4 chicken fingers. What they say is premium cut tenderloin marinated for over 12 hours and then hand breaded. These are like your standard size chicken tenderloins that you would get at the grocery, not those giant Franken tenders they have at like Raising Cane's or Dave's Hot Chicken. The breading and seasoning is actually really nice, super salty, and a little kick from the black pepper and all the herbs and spices. Definitely a little MSG in there to keep things tender and savory. And these actually don't really need sauce at all, but in true MrBeast fashion, they go over the top with not 1 but 2 sauces, Zax Sauce and Ranch. The ranch is as run-of-the-mill as ranch can get. I'm sure this is just some grocery store brand that's just relabeled with the Zaxby's logo. The Zax sauce, though, is a little bit more interesting, but I would say it's not much of a better partner with the chicken than the ranch is. It's actually quite a good sauce, but it does share a lot of the seasonings with the chicken, so it's almost like why bother? There is a little creaminess to that sauce, though, so whether you dip it in that Zax sauce or the ranch, the taste is kind of somewhat the same. Speaking of taste being somewhat the same, Zaxbys Crinkle Fries, which they describe as golden, crispy, and have that extra deep crinkles to hold its signature seasoning mix. These pretty much taste exactly like the chicken. This is probably due to the crinkles holding that signature seasoning, which is probably the same thing that's mixed into the breading on the chicken. Or maybe the fact that the fries are cooked in the same oil as the chicken, or maybe both factors. I don't know. But I am kind of over restaurants trying to give you crinkle cut fries. We've established that the only place that really does it well is Shake Shack. So can the rest of you please stop trying? The fries do go well with that Zax sauce, so I guess there's that. I think my favorite thing in the MrBeast Box was the cheddar bites. They say bite-sized white cheddar cheese dipped in batter and fried nice and crispy. These remind me a lot of the fried cheese curds at Dairy Queen. And in general, fried mozzarella is one of my favorite things, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about them. I tested them with the Zax sauce and with the ranch, just in case, and honestly neither were great in my opinion. I guess maybe the local specialty of fried mozzarella with raspberry sauce spoiled me a little bit, who knows. The one thing that definitely stands out about this meal is the Texas toast. They give you 2 slices of Texas toast, which is totally overkill. And it's not incredibly crispy, it's actually kind of soggy, and I don't think that was just because of the transit. So in terms of the volume, one of these would just be fine with the meal. Because overall, this meal is just carb after carb after carb. I will say though, in terms of value, it does make it seem worth it. So I'm not complaining, but just knock off $1 and give 1 piece of bread, you know? I'd be remiss to ignore the small drink that comes with the meal, which they specify as coming with Zaxby's ice, which it turns out is just that weird pellet ice. Unless you're a regular at Sonic, you don't see that often, so I guess it's kinda special. Our order was out for delivery with the Grubhub driver for quite a while, so out of everything that came, my Coca-Cola Zero seemed to have suffered the most in transit. Actually, I guess that's not true because the chocolate bar was actually kind of a little bit of a pity party. And I guess that's the last thing in the box to talk about. One of MrBeast's new Feastables Milk Chocolate Bars. They advertise those as an all-new formula featuring simple, high-quality ingredients resulting in a deliciously satisfying chocolate snack and not available at any other quick-service restaurant. They are available at big stores like Target and Walmart though, so I mean, it's not that special. I've been trying to run through the variety of those Feastable bars on our Silly Snack Review shorts whenever we can find them, but a couple of the ones that came with our meals were partially melted, probably because the driver had them up against the food in the bag. Cassie's wasn't, and she insisted on keeping hers, even though she knew I was doing this for the content, so I can't ignore the fact that mine was melted. I actually like the new Feastables chocolate, but Noah says Hershey's is actually better, so do with that information whatever you will. Speaking of Noah, he absolutely loved that meal. He didn't finish it in the one sitting, but when we were in the convention, he happened to be munching on the leftovers just as we got called up on stage. And the reason we were called up is because we won a drawing for Noah to be in a pack battle, and it turns out he was in a pack battle against the kid who was sitting right next to him, who was literally watching him munch away at this delicious food. It's a fun detail we like to remember about the event. Looking now at the Zaxby's menu, it looks like this MrBeast box might be fading away in availability, but it was a great introduction to the food for me. I like just about everything in there, and I actually think it was a crazy deal even with the Grubhub inflated prices. Card Party was amazing, and we even got to talk to Pat for a moment, just like at Vid Summit, which I have an entire video highlighting all of the silly stories that happened during that trip, and you can click that on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.